I wanted to get married, from the time I was a little girl, but I wasn't the kind of little girl that dreamed about her wedding dress and her wedding from the time, she was 5. I cared a lot, but at the same time, that wasn't end goal. So I was excited for our wedding day, but I was excited to be married to Ian. So wedding day was just a means of marrying Ian. You should go on the other side of the slide. There you go. It's wet.
It's wet.
Yeah, he got in the water from the fig plant. My name's Talia. I grew up in Landenberg. Spent most of my life around here.
My name's Ian Doyle. I grew up in Louisiana and moved here in 2021. We met at a Christian camping conference center called Sandy Cove in Maryland. They were running a year-long leadership internship program there, and we both ended up taking that on.
The first thing that I remember is I was walking down and Ian came by in his car. He's like, "Hey, you want to ride?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I got to talk to him in the car. And that was the first thing that I remember is a nice guy who offered me a ride. The thing that I remember the most that we kind of bonded over, connected right away with, was there was just a lot of similarities in our personalities, just the way that we operated. One thing this is super random. When I eat ice cream, I like to kind of squish it around and get it in between a liquid and a solid state. And I caught Ian doing the same thing. I was like, "What are you doing to your ice cream?" Because anybody else who looks at you is like, "Why? Do you even like ice cream?" And that's how Ian likes his ice cream too. I was like, wow, he understands.
Yep. You don't do it that often anymore, but she used to scratch her nose with both of her hands at a time like this. And it was such a chipmunk thing to do. And that was something that I noticed right away. I was like, wow, that's cute. We caught on to be fast friends. Ended up talking a lot about family life and growing up and relationships within family. A couple months in, we were both feeling really drawn to each other in more than a friendship kind of way, but we definitely were not honest with ourselves about it or each other. I was dating someone at the time, but at the same time, Talia, gave me some comfort outside of a really bad relationship that I needed at the time, some friendship in that way.
I didn't even face my feelings for Ian for a very long time because that wasn't even a possibility. I ruled out the possibility of having feelings because he was in a relationship. So subconsciously and just shut it down. He's like, "Nope, he's just my friend, really good friend." And that went on. We met in late August, September, and that went on through the winter.
We started the program in August 2014, and in January 2015, I found out that my then girlfriend was pregnant.
And then I think it was Ian who reached out to me after the fact and was like, he kind of apologized for just leaving abruptly, no explanation. And we started a little bit of a back and forth. And I think it was you who initiated. You wanted to talk. You wanted to tell me about what was going on. We set up a time. Ian came, and that was a really hard conversation because we processed through the reality of our feelings for each other, and then Ian's reality and the season of life that he was in. So from there, we tried to stay out of contact, but we didn't do a very good job of it. It was probably a full year of playing this game of being out of contact for a couple weeks or a couple months, and then we would either run into each other because we had overlapping circles of friends, and then that would kind of just kick off the cycle again. It would kind of lead into this pattern of just more feelings kind of being expressed and kind of going down a rabbit hole of just kind of unhealth. We had a position in each other's life that just was not appropriate.
Like I said before, I was in a relationship before I met Talia, and the relationship just continued to be emotionally, verbally abusive. And about 10 days after my son was born in October of 2015, I ended that relationship and continued on my own. God disassembled a lot of my beliefs in that time. Life has gone downhill, and a lot of it's my fault, and a lot of it feels like it's not in any sort of control. And with Talia and with myself, realizing that I was not helping Talia in any way by continuing to be around, being close, and trying to be in any kind of relationship, be in contact.
I know from my end, I felt like, even though it wasn't intentional, I felt manipulated at times just because of where Ian was at.
I prayed to God at a point where I didn't even know if he was there. I said, God, I'm gonna keep holding on because I don't know what I would do if I didn't. And if you're there, you'll catch me and you'll tell me about yourself. So God was faithful, and he built up a lot of my faith. He took me through the book of John, and I saw things that I had never read or understood before. And I, for real, for the first time, let go of Talia, and was okay being on my own.
I ended up moving to San Diego. I was only there for like 6 months, but it took me moving as well. Me moving across the country and kind of starting from scratch, not having anybody for me to let go. And then moving back home with my parents, that stirred up a lot in me, a lot of growth, a lot of challenge. Yeah, through that, I just feel like my faith was also tested and kind of made true in the end, deciding to cling to God and him never letting go of me.
We got back into contact because I came across a video of a ferret, which Talia and I had really bonded over ferrets when we first met. And I found this video, and I was like, there's no way I can't send this to Talia because it was great. It was a good video. So I sent it with like all the caveat of like please, like, I'm not trying to start anything, like I'm just sending this along.
So when Ian got in touch with me after like a couple of years of no contact, and I was just coming off of one of the darkest seasons of my life, and I struggled a lot with deep depression and anxiety. We had some small talk for a couple of days, and then we did immediately go into having like pretty intentional conversation and kind of talking through our past and what that meant for now. And we decided that we were both comfortable with moving forward, talking honest about the fact that we both deep down would love to pursue something other than a friendship. But if we were going to do that, we needed to take it real slow. And there was a lot that we were going to have to work through. For almost a full year, we did conversations for the most part over long distance, video call or phone call or text messages and stuff.
We dated for around 3 years, and then we started talking about getting married in 2020. From the beginning, had agreed to just talk through everything and be very vocal and intentional about what we were aiming for.
We got engaged October of 2021, and then we planned and got married within 5 months.
Yeah.
Our first dance was longer than we expected.
Yeah, it was a whole song.
It was all of Live and Rose by Louis Armstrong, including the 2-minute intro. Yep. And it was awful.
Yep.
The thing that I have come away with most of all in our story is just God. He always orchestrating something bigger. Over the course of the last 10 years, who God has made me and who Ian was and who Ian is now, 2 totally different people. And I'm so glad that I get to marry the Ian that's now rather than the Ian that I met 8-9 years ago.
God was faithful to me to take me through some of the hardest things I've dealt with to get me to a place where I was okay. And more importantly, I was in a place where I trusted God on my own.